What's going on YouTube? It's Wayne's Fish World. I'm coming at you guys with another video today. I want to talk about live rock. What is live rock? How many different types of live rocks are there in this hobby? Why do I need it? What's it going to do? And is it really necessary for an aquarium? Now, let's start off with the basics. Live rock. Live rock is simply rock that is alive. No, the rock itself is not alive. It's not an organism. But there's microorganisms living on and inside of the rock, from your bacteria that breaks down ammonia to nitrite and nitrate, to microscopic organisms such as copepods or amphipods. Well, they're not really microscopic, but you get the idea. Organisms such as macroalgae, sponges, anything can thrive in live rock. And it's just it's a niche, a habitat to so many organisms that are the basic building blocks to a reef system. Now, why is it so popular in saltwater? I know some people out there see aquariums with fake decoration from Walmart and Petco, and there's no live rock in your system. Well, that's true. You technically do not need live rock in your tank to have it successful. There are some advantages and disadvantages to live rock. The main advantage is it's the best way to cycle your new aquarium. You can cycle an aquarium with live rock that isn't completely cured without introducing any fish, because the organisms that die off in a live rock during transportation through the water, getting on a plane, shipped to San Diego or wherever the retailers are, going to the local fish store to your house, in that time of shipment, some organisms die off, and that organic buildup on the rocks that's dead will basically break down to ammonia, which goes to the nitrogen cycle. So it is the best way to cycle a saltwater tank. It'll also raise the pH a little bit to keep it high. In a saltwater tank, you want to have high pH. The disadvantages, probably the cost and the simple fact, sometimes if your tank gets really crappy, I've never had it happen to me, but I've heard rumors where live rock can absorb toxins and leach it back out, but your tank has to get pretty crappy in order to do that. Now, I don't recommend getting live rock like I have in this tank, because not because of what type of live rock it is, but since the years have gone by, there are so many methods out there now. You don't have to harvest directly from the ocean. You could go ahead and buy Aquaculture live rock. Aquaculture live rock is basically man-made rock to simulate real reef rock. What they'll do is they'll make rock and they'll put it in a tank or a tub or something, or some kind of housing unit for live rock. They'll take some real pieces of live rock and crust it with coralline algae, sponges, bacteria, pods, bristleworms, whatever living in the live rock, and the new live rock will be seeded with the real live rock, and that's the best way to go in my opinion. And what it's made out of, what kind it is, it doesn't really matter. It can be concrete, it could be any kind of plastic or whatever they're made out of. I'm not entirely sure, so I sound kind of stupid there, but whatever it is, it's still better than real reef rock. Because here's another thing with live rock's a disadvantage. You really don't know what you're getting with live rock. You could have live rock set up for a year or two, and you could have all these fish and corals in there, and then boom, this mantis shrimp appears, or this bad bristleworm appears, and it starts eating your corals and your fish. You don't know what's going to be in that live rock. It comes directly from the ocean. That's why a lot of people start off with dry base rock, because they know what's going exactly into the aquarium. They know something bad isn't going into the aquarium. That's another reason I suggest Aquaculture live rock, because you know you're not going to get those bad things into your tank. Now, how many types of different live rocks are there, and what's the best ones to pick? Now, there's many different types of live rocks out there. Live rock is basically named after where it comes from. Tonga branches or SPS coral branches. Caribbean live rock comes from the Caribbean. Fiji comes from Fiji. There are many types of different live rocks out there, but you want to find a type of rock that is porous. And why do you need a porous live rock? Well, two reasons. One, it's going to give you more surface area for beneficial bacteria. Now, if you're familiar with freshwater, you need beneficial bacteria in your tank to break down toxins. Now, in saltwater, you need about 10 times more beneficial bacteria than you do in freshwater. Because that's what it's required. You don't need this much surface area in a freshwater tank to maintain your fish. But in saltwater, you need a lot more surface area. It's just, that's how it is with saltwater. So you want to find something that's very porous because it has more beneficial bacteria surface area, and also water flow. You don't want just a block in your tank. And what I mean by a block is just a big rock that's, you know, just there. It's not porous at all. You don't want that because, one, it's taking too much volume up when you could have a porous rock with nicks, crevices, little caves, whatnot, and that rock could be lighter, so it'll cost you less, and it has more surface area. So it's a win-win situation. Also, with your water flow in a porous live rock, you're less likely to have detritus buildup or organics building up in your tank and decaying and then producing into ammonia. So the best live rock to get is a very porous aquaculture live rock, in my opinion. Now, I'm not going to do a video without showing live rock, obviously. I have a video on how to stack live rock, how to care for live rock, and basically everything you need to know about live rock, and I'll post it right here in this video. But I did go to a local fish store today, and I got some tonga branches. Now, I got only about 3 3/4 pounds of tonga branch, but I'm going to show you right now. I'm taking them out of the bag, so bear with me. And they are not entirely crusted with coralline algae, but they do have a little bit of coralline algae on them. Alright, here's the first piece. And sorry the lights are off. My light bulbs, my ceiling light blew out, so you have to bear with me. I'm going to place this in the tank. Not going to set it in there permanently yet, but I'm just going to set it in there for now. Like I said, that's nowhere near permanent. And there we go. Now, that's about 3 pounds and 3/4. It's not permanent, guys, so I'm going to make it look a lot better. But if you guys remember back in the day, I said, hey, I wanted to put a few arches with tonga branch in my tank, and now I'm going to do that. I might get a few more pieces later on when I go to a local fish store. And the one thing I don't like about this is, believe it or not, guys, when I set this tank up, I Gorilla Glued most of the live rock pieces together. I didn't use epoxy. I don't suggest using Gorilla Glue because it's not the correct way to do it, but it works fine for me because when it cures, it's not harmful to fish anymore. But that's not the right way to do it, so technically I'm not going to recommend it. So I might do a big water change and drain that tank, put some Gorilla Glue on it, let it cure, or maybe some epoxy since it'll cure faster, and get it to hold into place, because I've learned a big lesson with my old 55, well, the same tank really, but I broke the old tank, so this is just a new 55-gallon tank to replace it. But I learned a big mistake when I get in there to scrub the glass and stuff. I always knock the rocks over, and I have to worry about, oh my god, did I just kill my fish or something? Am I going to break the glass when that rock falls? And it was just a pain in the butt. So I went ahead and glued these rocks together, and I think it's a big advantage. So with these tonga branches, I'm going to get that much more surface area with my beneficial bacteria. Now the tonga branches aren't that porous, but it is holding that much more surface area. And you know, now I have some places where the fish can sleep, rest. There's some more corners and cracks for the fish to swim through and hide. I can place some corals on there and whatnot. But your best filtration, guys, for the live rock is to have a good flow on there. Now, what I'm doing right now in this tank, I had to take one of the power heads off because I've got a baby blue hippo tang, and we'll show that tang in another video. But I did a lot of prep work for that fish. Basically, I had two power heads on here, one on the left, one on the right, and they were MARINELAND 900s. Well, the old one I had on here was a couple years old, and I couldn't find all the parts, because with the MARINELAND 900s, you can convert them either to a power head or a circulation pump, and I couldn't find the parts to convert it into a power head again because it was so old, the parts were scattered. I picked up a new one in the left-hand corner, and I converted that to a power head for now until the blue hippo tank is bigger. Because I never told YouTube this, but about a little over a year ago, I got a blue hippo tank a little smaller than that. It got caught into the MARINELAND 900s impeller housing. It didn't get chopped up, but it just got stuck in there. Got really stressed out. I had a few scratch marks, bruises. I completely turned the power strip off. Fish came out immediately. It was swimming around, but just due to the stress, it didn't make it. So I took that pump off because I couldn't find the circulation pump. But what I got going on here, I've got a MARINELAND 350 here. I mean, not a MARINELAND 350, my God. A MARINELAND 900 gallon per hour power head. And I had one in this corner. I had them on timers, and the timers are still on even though one's unplugged, because when the tank gets bigger, the tides will still be in sync. I didn't want to mess it up. But basically, one will turn on for 6 hours, and then for 1 hour, the other one will cut on. They'll both be on for 1 hour, and this one will shut off. And then the tide will come in this way for 6 hours. And then on the 6th hour, this will come back on. They'll both be on. And after that 1 hour, it goes off. And then tide comes back that way for another 6 hours. And that keeps going on and on and on, just like in nature. And that power head in the far hand corner, that's my wave pump, I guess you'd call it. The spontaneous wave, the surge. Every hour and a half for 30 minutes, that will pump on just to create a random big wave in the tank. Now, I know it's not a surge with a bucket over your tank and stuff, but I didn't want to go out and do that. I could connect it to a digital timer so I can get it happen, you know, for 5 minutes every 45 minutes or something like that, but that's out of my way. I am thinking about purchasing a WP-40 and put it in this tank to create the wave effect, then get two smaller power heads and just plug them into the timer so I still had the tides and I had that wave motion going on at the same time. So that's pretty cool, guys. The key is keep good water flow through your live rock, keep that detritus and stuff, suspend it in the water column so it can be filtered out through either through your protein skimmer or your mechanical filter, and just keep passing water through that live rock, because you do not want to just have a tank with a bucket of live rock dumped in there, because it's going to collect all that waste, all that detritus. It's going to break down, lead to ammonia problems in your tank. You want to have caves, crevices. You want to have your live rock open for your fish to swim in so they can have hiding spots, and so your fish can, your live rock can breathe. It can breathe. You want water to pass through it. Think of your live rock as a sponge filter. You wouldn't want to have a crappy air pump on it. You want to have a huge air pump on it so it can just breathe. It can just clean the tank of ammonia. So it can break it down. And that's all it is to it, guys. You want to have high water flow, and you want to have natural, safe live rock that is porous in your tank. Get some aquaculture live rock. You can do it yourself. There's plenty of DIY videos out there. And seed it with some real live rock or some past aquaculture live rock that's already seeded. And just, stop buying from the ocean. I just did it today, but oh well. But stop buying from the ocean and just go aquaculture, guys. I highly recommend that. Comment, rate, subscribe. Any questions? Next video is going to be on possibilities of having an angelfish farm or a coral reef farm. Stay tuned, guys. Comment, rate, and subscribe. Later.